Welcome everyone, I'm your host Elias Arntopoulos with another Illustrator training tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create a repeating pattern based on simple shapes, a custom grid, and how to scale and move it within a given space. Alright, creating this geometric pattern and making lines and shapes snap in relation to each other. First, I'll make some changes inside Illustrator's Preferences panel. So under the Guides and Grids, I'll set the grid line I'll set mine to 50 pixels. Now, this represents the space between each individual grid line on both the vertical and horizontal axis. For the subdivisions, I'll set this one to 10 and then click OK. In addition, under the View menu, I'll turn on Snap to Grids and also Show the Grids. And now I'm ready to go to the next step, start creating the geometric pattern. So looking inside the toolbar, I'll go ahead, click and hold to get to the ellipse tool. And from this point right here, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut to create a perfect circle from the center out and release. I'll grab the selection tool and I'm also going to double check my work inside the properties panel. Here it is. I have a perfect circle, 400 by 400 pixels. In addition, no need to have any fill color. So I'll go ahead and remove that. And look inside the layers panel. I'm also going to lock the ellipse so I don't accidentally move it. Back on the tools bar, I'll go ahead and grab the pen tool. Click once to create the first anchor point. Press the Shift key and create another anchor point. And now I have a straight segment. Here it is. So the plan here is to create a bunch of these straight segments and rotate them. So under the Edit menu, I'll copy this. Back on the Edit menu, I'll paste that in front and look inside the layers panel. Here it is, two identical paths sitting right on top of each other. So with the selection tool, I will hover over till I get the rotation indicator and start rotating this. And I'll press the Shift key on the keyboard to rotate that to 45 degrees. I'll deselect everything, mark and select this two, and I need to make one more duplicate. So another way how to do this is to grab the rotation tool and I'll click and drag, and as I do, I press the Shift key and the Alt key on the keyboard to create the duplicates and release. I will mark and select all of these. Again, I'm double checking my work inside the layers panel. And under the Object menu, I'll go ahead and group those. I'll double click and rename this to lines, then press Enter Return. And I'm also going to lock this here so I don't accidentally move it. Now grab the rectangle tool. I'll zoom a bit here and click and drag to create a square. And inside the properties panel, I'm double checking my work. This is correct, 50 by 50. Now I'm going to hover over here till I get the rotation indicator, press the Shift key and rotate this to 45 degrees, release that and position this right here. I'm going to duplicate this using the keyboard shortcut and position it right here. So I will mark and select this too using the Shift key. I need to create a duplicate. So under the Edit menu, I'll copy this and paste on in front. Again, I'm going to hover over here till I get the rotation indicator, start rotating and press the Shift key on the keyboard to constrain the movement. Now we'll mark and select all of these, double checking my work inside the layers panel. Under the Edit menu, I'll copy this and paste that in front and start rotating and press the Shift key to constrain the movement, the rotation. Here it is. So mark and select all of these rectangle shapes. And using the contextual taskbar, it's going to group those. I'll double click and rename this to rectangles, press Enter Return. And next I'll add more shapes to complete the pattern. The next tool to grab will be the pen tool. I'll zoom in a bit here. Create the first anchor point, the second, the third, and here I'm going to close the path. No need to have any fill color. Once again, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut to remove that. I grab the selection tool and then use the keyboard shortcut to create duplicates. I'll release that, rotate that using the shift key, like so, and then shift select those two to select them, and then using the contextual taskbar, I group those. Here's the group. Now again, the plan is very similar. I'm going to create a bunch of duplicates and rotate them around. But there's another way. So under the Effect menu, Distort and Transform, I'll use the Transform effects. I'll set the rotation angle to 45 degrees. And for the number of copies, using the up arrow key, I'll set this to 1, 2, 3 copies, and then click OK. You see, this is still a live effect, and we can see this inside the Properties panel. And under the Appearance, here it is. Here is the Transform effect. So when I click on that, I can edit the effects. So in this case, I need to disable that. So under the Object menu, I'll choose to expand its appearance. And that expands the vector attributes and effects. I'll go ahead and rename this to triangles. And I'm also going to unlock the ellipse layer, and then using the Control key or the Command key, I will target those two and only those two layers. Now I'm going to trim those excessive paths protruding around the circle. And for that, I'm going to use the very powerful Shape Builder tool. So I'll click on that. And then to enter the subtract mode, I use the keyboard shortcut and just go around like so and remove those extra paths. There we go. That looks good. I'm going to lock the circle and just with the triangles selected and targeted, inside my libraries, I will assign this color of my choice. And for the rectangles, I will assign this color of my choice. And I'm ready to go to the next step and create the repeating pattern. To create the pattern and look inside the Layers panel, first I'll make sure none of these layers are locked. With the Selection tool, I'll marquee select everything, and then use the keyboard shortcut to scale everything down. I'll release that, I'll go ahead and zoom in a bit, and looking here at the stroke weight, it's a little bit too thick for my tastes. So I will marquee select the circle here, and I'm going to reduce the stroke weight from 1 point to 0.75. And I'll do this for the remaining of the shapes here, reducing the stroke to 0.75. This is just a personal choice. I'll marquee select everything. I like what I see. So under the Object menu, Pattern, and then Make the repeating pattern. Now we get a message from Illustrator that the new pattern has been added to the Swatches panel. Here's the Swatches panel. I'll click OK. I'll zoom out a bit. Things are looking great. I just need to have a bit of a breathing space all around, vertically and horizontally. And I can do that once I check on the size tile towards. I'll set the horizontal spacing to 10 pixels and the vertical space also to 10 pixels, and then click Done. All right, so to apply this to a shape, first I will lock the original pattern here. I will toggle off its visibility. I will create a new layer. No need to have the grid visible, so I will hide the grids. I'll grab the rectangle tool and just click and drag to create a rectangle shape. No need to have any stroke, so I'm going to remove that. We just need to have a fill. Actually, not even a fill. All we have to do is go to the Swatches panel and apply the pattern. Alright, so things are looking great. I have a repeating pattern. A couple of things I would like to mention, and that is, how about positioning or scaling the pattern itself within this rectangle shape? With the selection tool, I'll go ahead and click once to select the rectangle shape, and then right-click, transform, and choose Move. Here first, I will enable the transform patterns and disable the transform objects. I will click on the horizontal field, and for example, I can use the up arrow key and the shift key on the keyboard to position this horizontally 10 pixels at a time. I'll press the tab key to go to the vertical field, and for example here I can use the down arrow key and the shift key on the keyboard and position this vertically. I'll click OK, and then right click, transform, and then this time I'll scale the pattern within the rectangle shape. So for that, I'll make sure the transform patterns is enabled, the transform object is disabled, as well as the scale strokes and effects. And for example, I can scale this down uniformly using the down arrow key and the shift key to 50% and click OK. Now at the event that I want to reset the pattern back to its original dimensions, all I have to do is inside the swatches panel is to click once on the pattern swatch.